why you can't just move on. I don't really know who needs to hear this or if I just need to say it out loud, but I feel like nobody talks about it, talks about this in a way that makes sense. Everybody just says move on, like as if it's some switch you can flip. Like one day you decide you're done and that's it. But if it was that easy, none of us would still be thinking about the people we lost. You keep telling yourself that one day it'll stop hurting, and one morning you'll wake up and think you don't care anymore. That's simply just not how moving on works. Moving on means remembering without feeling like your world is falling apart. The hardest part isn't losing somebody, it's losing the version that you imagined with this person. It's why random songs hit different. It's why certain places feel so memorable. And it's why you can't go a day without thinking about them. That's why one text message can ruin your entire day. You're not just letting go of a person, you're letting go of a life that you never gave the chance to happen. The more you fight those feelings, the more that they will stay. You may feel like you're not getting any progress, but you are. Some days you'll miss them, some days you won't think about them at all. Both are progress. Healing isn't just a straight line, it's messy, it's slow, and sometimes you may feel like you're back at the beginning, but you're not. One day you'll hear their name and it'll just be a name. One day you'll be at a place that used to hurt and it's just a place. Not because you stopped caring, but because you finally made room for yourself again. It's a thing that most people don't talk about. Moving on isn't about becoming somebody who never loved. It's about becoming someone who is no longer controlled. And that takes time. It's not something that will happen overnight, and it's a lot longer of a process than most people like to admit. You don't rush it, you just keep moving. Even if today, that just means one more step than you did yesterday. And the weird part is, most people don't even notice when it starts getting better. You don't wake up and it's completely healed. Not because you've forced yourself to stop, but because your brain slowly starts to let go when you're not looking. You stop expecting certain messages and you start feeling more like yourself. Some days, small things will bring everything back, like a memory you didn't ask for, like a dream that feels too real. And this might push you back a little bit, but you just have to keep going. Healing doesn't mean that you'll never feel again. Healing just means that you're not the person you were. And that's hard to comprehend because at the beginning, everything reminds you of them. But like every song, every place, every time your phone lights up, you think about them. But later, those things will just become a part of life again, and you won't think about them. And in small ways, you don't even notice. You don't actually want to erase the past. You just want to stop hurting, and you just want to stop thinking about the past. And slowly that happens, not all at once, not in a moment that you can point to, but in small ways you barely notice. Until one day you'll realize you've gone an entire day without thinking about them, and then 2 days, and then longer, and then that's when it starts to shift. That's when you start getting lighter. The weight on you stops becoming so heavy. Not because it's gone, it's disappeared. It's just because you've gotten stronger. If you're in the middle of it right now, it probably doesn't feel like it's coming anytime soon. Probably feels like this is how it's going to be forever. But that's how every moment feels when you're inside of it. And it always feels permanent when you're living it. It always feels like it's going to last forever. But nothing stays forever, not even this. So you don't need to rush it. You don't need to force yourself to be okay faster than you are now. You just need to keep going through it, even if it's slow. Even if it feels like nothing is changing, it's changing. You're growing up, you're becoming more mature, you're not thinking about them as much. And the hardest parts about all this is that nobody really sees the process. People only notice the beginning and the end. Nobody thinks about the journey. They just think about the final destination. They see when you're hurting. People see the worst of you, but they never see the in between. Nobody does, because they are living the same life as you. All the nights when you're just lying there thinking too much. All the mornings when you wake up and you feel heavy for no clear reason. All the moments when you act normal around the other people, but your mind is somewhere else entirely. That part doesn't get talked about much. Nobody ever seems to talk about the in between. When you're not falling apart anymore, but you're not really okay either. And you just learn how to exist in that space for a while. But even that space doesn't last forever. At some point, things will start to feel lighter. Not because anything changed outside of you, but because something slowly has changed inside of you. You start to build new routines without realizing it, new habits, new distractions, new versions of yourself that don't revolve around what you've lost. At first, you feel like you're betraying the past, like you're not supposed to be laughing again. But that's not betrayal, that's healing. Because the goal was to never be stuck in pain. The goal was to learn how to live again. And the truth is, the things that hurt you don't lose meaning just because you heal. They still matter, they still happen, they're still a part of you. But they stop being the center of everything. They stop being the thing that defines your whole day, your mood, your identity, and you slowly start to notice something else too. You start to notice yourself again. Not the version of you that existed during the worst of it, but the version that existed before it. Or even better, the version that's going to be rebuilt after it. And that's something that a lot of people don't expect. That you don't just go back to who you were. You become slightly different, a little more aware, a little more patient, a little more understanding of your own mind. And even though it came from something painful, that growth is still real. So if you're watching this and you feel like you're stuck right now and that nothing is changing and you're just repeating the same day over and over and over, I promise you, you're not actually standing still. It's just you don't feel the progress when it's happening. Most progress doesn't. It only becomes obvious when you look back at when you were more stuck than you are now. And you'll realize that things that used to break you don't control your thoughts anymore and might still show up at sometimes, but they won't decide your whole mood. It won't take over. It won't decide who you are. And that's when you'll understand that that's what moving on really meant. Not forgetting, not erasing, just becoming someone who can carry it without being crushed by it. And until that point, you just keep going, even if it feels repetitive, even if it feels slow, even if nothing feels different yet. It is different, just not in a way that you can see right now.